Hi all, this is just a quick video to bring you up to date with progress. I've finished the battery testing and that's revealed some interesting results, and I'll post the results plus a discussion of that separately. But what I've decided to do now is just take the starter motor apart and investigate that prior to reassembly and a retest. Now, I did say I'd make a video of this, and I will, but at this stage the shit has hit the fan somewhat because I've run into a problem with my bike in that it won't start. I'll post an explanation to that along with the video of this starter motor. Provisionally anyway, let's just show you what I've done. I've taken the starter motor, the test motor apart, and it's not going to be, I think that there's an obvious kind of remedy that we can try, assuming that it is a brush plate earth. Let me just show you how this works. So this is the brush plate end of the starter motor, and this is the actual brush plate. It's complete as it came out, with the exception that I've taken the positive, the feed brush out. The brushes don't appear to be particularly worn, but the way it works is, I don't know how well you can see, but if you look inside the starter motor, in the housing, there are these kind of lugs on the inside surface. I thought the brush plate rested in a groove. It doesn't. It rests on those protuberances on the inside of the housing, and one of them, let's find it. Where it is? That one there sits a little bit higher, and it locates in a wider slot in the brush plate. So if I just put the brush plate in position, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so that's the brush plate in position. Now, it makes its earth contact, the live contact is no problem, but it makes its earth contact by virtue of its contact with the body of the starter motor. And from a circumference point of view, it's a joke, because look, it's got about in terms of diameter, it's about 0.75 of a mil smaller than the internal diameter of this. So that's not a great contact. So really, it makes its contact, you would imagine, by being compressed when the end cap goes on against those lugs that it rests on. But it doesn't actually, because the end cap has got an O-ring around it, which is just purely to stop water going in. It also has got a cutaway which slots onto that same boss there. So if we line it up and get it into position, there we are. Now that's fully home. And there's no compression there. If you bolted that, it's not going to be any harder up than if you just hold it by your fingers. That the O-ring's not actually doing anything. So if I hold the base in position, put my hand down here, you can actually move the brush plate from side to side. It's not under compression. That is going to make a poor earth, particularly when you think I've got grease on my fingers and crap on me from the rotor and everything. So the grease and the dust is going to get around there. It's going to get into the where you want a decent earth, and it's going to contaminate that. So I've come up with a very simple idea, and I'm obviously going to give this a go. I'll clean the components first, and then the idea is where the end cap goes on, it's got this edge here, machined surface, and that machined surface bears against the rear face of the brush plate. The only thing is, it doesn't compress it. It doesn't put it under any compression. So my idea is to take the actual plate itself, and you see some of these flanges, bend some of them upwards, and possibly even the ones, if there are specific ones bearing against the lugs on the inside of the casing, bend them slightly downwards, so that effectively it'll form a spring washer. And then when you put the end cap on, it will compress the plate rather than leaving it to rattle around loose. Now, I have heard from another chap on the Facebook page who did the similar mod to what I'd read elsewhere, which was to drill a hole in the base plate, in the brush plate, take a wire, drill a hole through the outside of the casing, run a wire and put it underneath the head of one of the casing bolts. Yeah, I mean, I think that might be a bit much for a lot of people. You've also got to route the wire so that it's well out of the way of the rotor. It's kind of a bit of a recipe for trouble if you don't know what you're doing. But this, I think, is quite a nice, simple solution, if it works, of course. It does make me wonder if that's how it's designed to work. And maybe the guys on the assembly line are supposed to bend these tabs up and down and do that when they assemble it. And maybe some of them don't. I don't know. Anyway, I'll clean it up. Try that mod, put it back together again, and we'll test it and see what happens. Meanwhile, if anyone's got any suggestions about what the hell's gone wrong with my bike, because I'm absolutely clean out of ideas, then yeah, I'm all ears. Cheers.